Hello friends, how's it going on? So today in this video we will be working on the functionality of our nav. So in the previous episode we made the nav and some other cool stuff, but I said that in this episode we will be giving it a function. And what is this function? So if I click somewhere in here, in the leftover part of our website, this nav bar should automatically close, but this time it is not clicking. It is not closing, I mean. So if I press here, you see it is not working actually, right? So but if I click up here, it is gonna work, right? So let's have a look on what we are going to do now. So I'll be up in VS Code and I have already npm started it. I have started my React app. Now let's get going. So first of all, let me open the now, and you see we did all this stuff using Material UI and everything in the previous episode, right? We made this cool cards and all other stuff, so that's okay. I hope you have watched it and you're ready to make it, right? So now let's work on this functionality. So for that, first of all, I had to create a div which takes this leftover space, and then in this leftover space we give that div, and whenever I click on that div, this nav should close up, right? So that's very easy to do. So let's see how we can do that. Okay, so this is our nav items div, right? This is our nav items div. So we need a div after this nav items. So let's define that div. So I'll say div. So first of all, okay, div dot, I'll say nav close or close nav. Okay, this will be our div element, and I will say div dot close nav. So now this div has been created. So I'll go to Nav Dot Css and style for this one. So first of all, what will I do? I'll copy this text up here, that is close nav. Okay, let me just write it. So close nav. So let's style it. First of all, let's give it a height, that is full height, right? So I'll say 100 view heights, and then we have to give it some width. So width will be nothing but total width minus the width of this nav bar, right? So how will we do that? We will use calc function in CSS. So what does it do? We says 100 view heights, a total of 100 view heights, from that minus 300 pixels, which is the width of our nav bar, right? So now if I do, it gets some width. Okay, now just remember that you give some space up here around this minus sign and around these thing you are passing in this function. Okay, just make sure that you do that. And now let's give it a background of say red for testing whether it is coming up or not. You see, here's our div. Now we actually need to style it. Now make sure that this complete div covers this complete space, right? And how are we going to do that? So first of all, this div and this div should be side by side. So let's do that. I will go to our nav content, and then I will say display to be flex, so that it just goes side by side. Now see, the width of nav content is 300 pixels, but I don't want that. So I'll just say, I will just comment that, and I will say its width, okay, width to be 100 view width. Now you see this thing takes some place, but now this thing doesn't have its own space. So let's give it some space. So this is what, this is our nav item. So let's give that space up there, up here, that is width of 300 pixels to our nav items. Now you see there is some leftover black space behind this what do we say, behind this new div, that is our close nav. So if I remove this background, you see it would be completely dark, but I don't want that. I want it to be plain, so it should be transparent, right? So what can we do that for? What can we do to do that? I mean, we have to give its background to be white, right? So now it is white. Then what do we need to do? Then we need to go to nav items and make its height of 100 pixels. How do we do that? Okay, height 100 view heights, not 100 pixels, it's 100 view height. So it is now completely of full size. Previously, if I just remove this and if I add a background, say background, okay, background color to be red. Now you see it's just taking this much part, and I have given it a margin top. Instead of margin top, I will make it padding top. Now it's fine, and now it should take our full space. And let me just define this. Okay, fine. If you don't define this, then also it will take 100 view height, because we have made its display flex. So display flex automatically gives it some height, right? So now this is our nav items. Now what do we need to do? We just need to go to this close nav, and if I say its background to be white now, you can see it's now it should exactly work now, but its width is not exactly what we wanted. Why so? It is just because of some padding or something. Here we have translate x to minus 25 pixels. So we need to add 25 pixels more to its width, and we just do that by making it 325. Okay, oh sorry, we need to make it 275. We have to subtract it from there, and now you see it is covered from there. Now there should be some padding or something, so we need to make sure that where it is. So not this, we have it somewhere. We have to make sure we remove that padding or margin. We have to remove that. Then we are on this now content, and padding is 0 here. Or maybe we can just increase its width to 325. This time it should work. Yeah, it's working fine, but let me just remove this. Oh yeah, now it's actually working. Right now this is actually working, and we could remove all of the stuff which is not needed for us, and make its width to be 300. Let's check if it's working. Yes, now it is perfectly fine. And if I remove this, and now we just need to transpose these LIs, UL, or let's say A, to the left. So just say transform translate x, not y. I want to translate it horizontally. So let's say minus 25 pixels as before, and now they are perfectly aligned back again. Right, and after hover I just translated x at something, but we don't want to do it to 10 pixels as we have translated it a bit here. We need to add this 10 pixels up here only, so it would become minus 15 pixels, right? So I'll just say minus 15 pixels. Now it should work fine. Don't go much further, and now it is working as we wanted. Right now let's make this to black back again, or that RGBA something. I don't know what was that color, but we had to see it actually. So let me do that with the VS Code color picker. So I made it black for now. Let's make it a bit grayish, I mean. Okay, fine. If I hit save, you see a gray color, but it's too gray. We don't want it so. And now it's perfectly fine. Okay, now let's go here and say it to be a black, but it should have some it should be blackish, not completely black, not completely transparent. It should be a bit blackish. So let's say RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.5 here, 0.5 here, so that it is some blackish and we don't see everything like that. Now you see that when I click on it, only this thing is hidden and this thing just stays here, and I can't do anything behind it. So we just need to change this thing up here to more, so that even this part up here goes away. So we can just do minus 100 view width for that, minus 100 view width. So let me do that. Now you see it, when I close up here, everything goes out, and when I click, everything comes up. Right, fine. But you see something fine. Okay, everything is fine. Let's work on that. When I click on it, it should just it should just close this now. So here, let me define an onclick function here. Right, I have an onclick function, and now in this function we have to add a function called close nav. That is the same function we have to call it here also. Right, the same function has to be called up here also. So let's do that. Just call this function up here. So we have our button at the top here, so let's just copy this onclick from here and paste it in there, so that it also works as same as this one. Fine. Now if I save, it should work definitely. And now you see it is closing when I am clicking. You see when I am clicking, it's closing. You see, okay, here, just see here. Okay, so if I click there, it's just simply closing. Isn't it cool? Now we see when I click here, it's just giving a blackish going away, right? This black is going not too smooth, so let's just remove that black because I don't like that thing going like that. So from here I will remove the background, and now it's completely fine, completely cool. If I press anywhere here outside the nav, it's just closing it, which is as cool. But if I click here also, it's closing, right? So that stuff is good. Now let's work for the footer, right? We have to create a footer for each and every site we build, so let's create a footer for this one also. So let's get going. So guys, now let's work with the footer, right? So if I just go create a new file for footer, I'll go to my components folder and create the files here, footer.js, and similarly footer.css, as we do usually for each and every component in our React app. Footer.css, fine. Now we actually need to say rfce React snippet, and then we actually need to import our CSS. So let's import it / because it's in the same folder. I will say footer.css. Fine, this is fine. And then let's give it a class. Let's say the class name to be footer itself. I'll give it a class name equal to footer. Fine, right? Now in this footer we need to do some changes, but before that let me say it React JavaScript so that it's fine. And now let me make our screen a bit bigger because I think that it may not be visible, and now it should be visible, right? And then we have to make the footer. So first of all, let's make something called rows for the footer, then we will be making some different columns. So let's say div dot, I will say footer row. Sorry, some mistakes here. Footer row. Okay, now it's fine. Now it's very much fine. And then we need to create a UL in which we will have some links through which we can browse through our components, like this one, right? Exactly like this one. So in here we have to make some LIs, or you say let's make some A's even, as we did in the Nav.js. We need to do something similar to this one only, but this time we doesn't have any icons, so we can do what? Let's just copy this complete UL till here. Let's just copy it, go to footer.js, paste it up here, and if I paste it, you see everything is fine. Now let me just remove these icons from here because I don't want icons in there. But if you want, you can just import those things which we imported at the top, these icons, and then just do the same thing with this one, even if you want. Okay, so now there should be a footer, but no, it will not be there because I haven't imported it yet in my app.js, so we have to do that, right? So after this home, I will just say add my footer, not small f, it is footer. Now it's fine, now it should be there. Okay, something is okay, we haven't defined our link style in the footer.js, this styling. So we need to do the same thing we did with our nav.js. So let's go to nav.js back again and just copy this link style. Even you can export this link style. Okay, let me tell you how you can export it and import it also. Okay, so let me say export, and then we have to say this name here, copy it up, paste it, and if I save, now this link style is actually exported, right? Let's see what it is showing, or we can just do export up here. I'm sorry, this should be there. And now I have actually exported this link style object, and I can actually import it wherever I want. Now if you are gonna import it, how are you gonna import it? So you just need to say, as we have exported here, we'll just replace that export with import. That's it. And we just need to say import link style from that location. You just need to pass in that location and do that stuff, but I'm not doing it right now because I don't need that. Actually, I could just copy it because it's much simpler, because we are just passing in that data into only one file, so it's better to copy because this object or is not very much bigger, right? So we could just copy it from one place and just paste it up here. Super cool. Now it should be working, but showing some error. Link style is not defined. Okay, we just need to refresh it. Now you see some LIs are there. You can see some LIs are there. Okay, super fine, right? Now when I click, this page is refreshing because it's hashtag here. Later on we will change this A tags with the React router so that it works very much fine. But now it happens something like this, and I don't want that actually to happen. So we will fix that later on. But now after this footer row, this will be our first footer row, which will align themselves like, okay, let me show that to you. If I go here, let me go to the footer. This is our footer row. We have to align it this way, right? And then these are footer columns. This is one footer column, this is one, this is one, this is one, right? So let's add our footer column, first footer column. So first of all, before adding our first footer column, let's say that all these footer columns are in one div so that it should be easy for us to align them, right? So let's say div dot footer columns, div dot footer calls even, so this is fine. And then we will say div dot footer call. This much is fine. And now we just need to add some A's from some text, like say h3, and then we just need to add these links, nothing else than that. So let me just copy that because they are so many, so I will just be copying it. Okay, so guys, now I have actually copied it, so let's paste that up here. So I've copied it from this footer calls itself. So let me remove this footer calls first of all and create some space so that you could see it finally. So now what are we doing here? Let me make it a bit small and make it big. Fine. Now we have this footer calls in which we have all other footer calls here. So I have 4 footer calls in 4 footer call div, right? So in one we have the header, and then we have some A's from links to that particular bike. This link is for this particular bike, that is E caliber 9.9 XX1 AXS, right? This goes to the official site. Similarly, we have some other footer calls even, and yeah, that's how. And now if I save it, you should be seeing it, and now you see all the stuff is here. And if I click on any one of them, it just takes us to our one off here, right? You can even add something through which it will directly go to a new tab and then open it. And how you are going to do that, let me just show you. In this A tag itself, let me make it big. Okay, now you have to say something called target. You will make it underscore blank. So now it just goes to a new page, but you see it shows some errors. So let's hover over. It says it is useless or it is risky without rel no referrer. So let's add that stuff. I'll say rel no referrer. Fine. Now you see that error has gone. And if I now click on the last link which we have clicked previously, this paddles one here, if I click on it, you see a new tab open, and this is as it is. So you can do this if you want, but I don't actually want it to happen. because I don't care about that currently, because it's just a project. It is not a real-time project, it's just a project to show, right? So we don't need that now. Now we actually need to add one more thing, that is this writeontrack.com -2021, right? So let's do that first of all. So for that we need to create some space. Why style it? For that we just add some HTML tags so that it just goes below that. So what are we going to do? We will just say 2br. So I'll say br times 2 and it will create 2 brs for us, and after that we will have a p tag. So p with an id, say footer cp text. Cp means copyright, footer copyright text, to give it some color if needed, and then we just need to say and copy. This gives us the copyright symbol, writeontrack.com, and then we need to give a space and nbsp, and this is the tag for a space, extra space. Then we just need to say 2021, and now it should be there, and it is somewhere up here. Okay, now you can see it, right? It is writeontrack.com space 2021. We actually need to style it. We will do that in a few minutes, don't worry about that. But when it's 2022, when 2021 gets over, it will not automatically change, but I want it to be automatically changed. So what can we do there? Okay, let's do that stuff right now. Okay, so here I will create a variable. Okay, here I will create a variable. So I will say let year. I will say let year equals new date function, and this takes something. And here after this, let's pass in this new year up here in place of 2021. Let's say curly brackets, and then I will say year. So we took the year up there, and now let me just take that year with a JavaScript function. Now let's say year equals to from this year give me the full year, the exact year name. So I'll also get full year, and now it's done. So now you should see 2021 back again. Okay, fine. But if I say year equals 2022, now you should see 2022. See 2022 right here, right? So that's how it works. Now this year dot get full year will take the year from the user's computer, user's machine, right? It will take that full year from there, year name from there. Now we actually need to style our footer. So let's go to footer.css and then let's style it. So I'll go to footer.css, and first of all I'll say dot footer. I will say color RGBA white 255, 255, 255, 0.551. Some random, okay, it's white actually, but a shaded white, right? Okay, got my point. Why I am doing it so? Because I'm just giving it a color, I mean text color, but this will not show up right now because these are links, and we actually need to make it capital F so that it works fine. And now you see some text is gray here, right? So let's make it big back again so that you could see everything perfectly. Okay, fine. And then after this color we need to do some else things also. Let's say background. Let's give it a background. Let's say the background is RGB, only RGB, no nothing like that. Then it's just 20, 20, 20. Now I've given it some background like this. Okay, and then let's give it some padding. Even let's give it some padding, inner padding. Okay, then I'll say 50 pixels from the top, 0 pixels from the right, 20 pixels from the bottom, and 0 pixels from the left. Okay, now it is something like this. If I add some padding from the left, you see if I add 50 pixels, it's gonna have some width from the left, right? So but I don't want it to be 50, I want it to be 0. Now it is absolutely fine. And after that we actually need to style our footer call. So let's say footer call. This is the footer call, not footer calls, just make sure. Okay, so footer call, I will say display to be flex because I want them straight, one above the or below the other. So let's say flex direction to be column, and then let's say justify content to be space around, and then let's give it a width, or no, not actually width, let's give it a margin so that it's separated by other footer columns if the screen is made small or thinner. Now you see some changes are there, right? Some changes are there. Then we actually need to style the else bar. Now why this link style has not been applied, I don't know actually. Where is the link style? It's up here. It should be working up here, but I don't see it working. Why is it so? Let's hover over. The href attributes requires a valid value to be accessible. Okay, so let me just remove this and see if it's working. Okay, I don't see any styling here. This styling, right? I don't see any styling there, but here I see those stylings. I don't know, there is something which I am missing. Okay, we actually need to style it from CSS, then it would be working fine, I guess, right? So let's check it from CSS. So now let me style dot footer row. Dot footer rows, I mean UL, that UL in which these elements are there. Footer row UL. And now let's style it. I'll say display flex. Display flex. Now they are side by side. Okay, UL is this one, the above one, because I'm saying footer row this time, right? And then we have something called list style. List style to be none because I don't want to have any dots around them. And then we have its width to be 100 view width, the total width 100 view width. And now we need to say justify content space around. Now it's fine. I think I gave it some padding. Okay, now let's see what happens. Okay, I press somewhere. Let me refresh it. And now you see everything is styled perfectly. Then let's style this allies in here. Let's give them a margin so that when the screen is made too small, even they have some space separated by each other, right? So let's just copy this stuff from here and then paste it up here. Say li, and then give them a margin of 3 pixels is more than enough. Okay, now it's fine, right? And then we just need to say footer calls A. We have to get footer columns A, these A's. So I'll take footer column from the top, copy that text. Okay, and after that we need to say text decoration of none. Okay, this style here has actually been passed here, but you see it's not white. I gotta see just right now it's white, so now it is working fine. I think while copying I made some changes there, so that may be one of the reasons because it was not working fine. Okay, now let's head back and then style these. I removed the text decoration and then I will give them a transition because I'm gonna add a hover effect to them. So I'll just say 0.2 seconds ease. Do with ease, with swag, right? I want that. Then I'll just give them a color. Say RGBA. I will say 134, 134, 251, 0.5. Now you see a different color this time, right? You see a different color. And then we need to say on hover do some stuff. On hover I will just translate them a bit or just simply change their color. So let's see what we will be doing. So first of all, okay, it should be better to do both of them, right? Let's transform it along with changing its color to a brighter color. So let's say color to be RGBA, the same thing. So let me just copy it and paste it, and let's make it 1. And now when I hover over, you see it's bright now. And then let's transform them. Transform, translate X. X would be fine. Translate X, and if I translate X, it should be 20 pixels to the right. Now you see something like this. Super fine, right? And after this, we need to edit this footer call text. Let's do that even. Okay, I again press somewhere. Okay, fine. Let me refresh it. Okay, fine. And then we need to style that text that we gave it to, right? So footer CP copyright text, display to be flex, and then align items to the center. If I just say display flex, it's gonna go everything up here. It's just gonna take it to the center, right? It will take the complete width. That's why I added justify content. I mean display flex. But there is another way of centering it. Just making it width to 100 view width and just saying text align to the center. That will also work. Okay, this thing also works. There are many ways to do one thing. I mean, I can say that if you're coding something, not styling, if you're coding some functions, say some algorithm, some different logic, there can be 1,000 ways of doing a single problem. Even there can be lags depending on the problem. It depends on the problem, right? There are many ways of solving a single problem. But in CSS, there are no many ways, but yeah, more than one way. I can just say about that. More than one way will be definitely be there. Then let's get going. I mean, footer calls, this time calls, okay, all the columns in there. I will say display flex so that they are side by side. Now they should be side by side, as you see. Then we say take a width of 100 view width, not see width, view width. Now then we just need to say justify content to space around so that you have space all around yourself, and now you are perfectly aligned, my friend, and super cool. And now we just need to add some media queries so that they just get styled perfectly, right? So let me just add a media screen of say max width, let's say 700 pixels. At 700 pixels you should change yourself. So I'll just copy, no need to copy, it's already saved in footer calls right here. Okay, so I just want to change something. I just want to make their flex direction to column come n by n, I mean one after the other in a straight line. And then we just need to say give it some margin. Give the footer columns, all these columns, a bit of margin, 20 pixels from top and 0 from both the sides. 20 pixels from top and bottom and 0 from both the sides. Then we need to say dot footer call, only footer call, and then we say let's give them a margin say 15 pixels, 0 space 0 says 15 pixels. Now let's make our browser's window a bit thinner, and you see everything's small. Now you see they're aligned straight to straight and perfectly positioned, right? Now this is our footer. Now it will be work fine in mobile, I know that, because they are too slim here, and there are just 4 words up at here, just 4 words, so we don't need to actually work for them because they are 4 words, and in every device these 4 words can definitely take space, right? So guys, before we end this video up, just see here that these allies are just going to a bit right. I think that there should be some padding up at here, so let's check for that once. If I press F12, it's gonna open something like this, and even in mobile you see it is taking some extra space and they are not aligning perfectly. So here you can see something is there, it is having some padding. Okay, here above here you can see, let me show you if I can. Okay, I can't. So here at a bit top in the white card above my cursor, you see the padding to be 000 40 pixels, and we have to remove that. We have to say in this UL, we have to say padding to be 0. Now it should be fine, and it is fine. Perfect, right? Now this is looking damn slick, guys. So this was footer, and now this is for this episode, guys. Okay, so in the next episode we will be working with React router. Just believe me, the next episode is gonna be goddamn. The next episode will actually blow your mind, guys. The next episode is gonna be very important if you are gonna learn React and want to master it. It is React router through which you can build single page applications just like the original one of the site. If I click on bikes, it's gonna take me to the bikes section. If I gonna click on about us, it's gonna take me to the about us section. If I click on home, it's gonna take me to home section. And this is the thing we are going to build in the next episode, so don't miss it. Let's meet right there in that episode.